the rhythm of change. This is the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What you feel like? Freedom. What you feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
There we go. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Eric Dawson Show. Welcome one, welcome all. Today is Tuesday. Got to let you know, Deidre Viney won't be here today. She's she's conserving her voice, and she's heading out of town. So I wish her travel mercies, and she will be.
With this snowstorm.
Yo, man, what is up with the snow? Who dialed all of this snow up?
No. It's the effects of global warming that they say, isn't happening. That's what it's all about. But
well, I don't dispute that global warming is occurring, right? But I remember we had a lot of snow when I was a kid. It seemed like it snowed, and then we didn't get like 2 inches of snow. We were getting like feet of snow. Because I remember one time, Vincent, I always think I know, right? You're like, what? I remember, so I lived on Leslie Street between Chancellor and Lyons Avenue, right? And I had this bright idea. You know how, like, when the snow is really thick and sticky, you can make a snowball and then roll it, and it'll just gather snow, right? So some friends of mine and me, we decided that we were going to start at the end of the block, and we literally made like a regular sized snowball. And we put it in the middle of the street, and we just started pushing it. By the time we got halfway through the block, we couldn't push this thing anymore. There were like 5 of us. The thing was massive, Vincent, and it was just stuck in the middle of the street.
And for those of you who remember the roadblock, you know how it started now.
It was hilarious. We did, and then you know what? Just like little rascals, man. We just looked at it and we walked away. we just walked away from it. Just left it there in the middle of the street. But I remember snows like that, man. I remember like in the early 80s, there was this massive snowstorm in Valley Fair. For those of you guys who are local to the area, you remember Valley Fair. I had to walk to Valley Fair, man, and people were pushing their carts, trying to get them down the street, and the buses had chains on them and all that other kind of stuff. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I remember being a kid when it snowed. I used to go down to the 5 and Dime.
Oh, the 5 and Dime.
Mm-hmm.
They had good hot dogs, good pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
With my big, heavy shovel that people used to shovel coal into their furnaces with. Yeah. I made 50 cents shoveling the sidewalk.
Hey, 50 cents back then, Vincent, was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, because $1 you get into the movies.
Yeah?
Yeah, so, yeah.
All day.
All day.
All day, man.
All day.
All day. Yeah, that was your whole day in the movie.
Yeah, and then you know when it's time to go home because the movie theater is empty and the street lights just starting to come on.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Well, listen, I want to get back, and I sent you, and I sent Jody, and I sent Diane the video, right? I want to start by closing out what we were talking about yesterday. We were talking about we the people, and what we the people means. And like, if we're going to, and then.
No, it wasn't we the people. It was all men are created equal.
Right.
And inalienable rights.
No, right. Right. But it started. Let's say it was about the Constitution. Right. Which starts out, we the people, right? And then it says that all people are created equal, right? With inalienable rights. And so the idea was when. And the conversation was really about those two phrases. One, make America great again. The other, restore the soul of America. Right? And so going all the way back to the origins, not oranges like Donald Trump said, but the origins. And so the origin has to be the beginning of this Constitution that was written, right? And everything from that beginning Because that's the foundation. So everything exists on that foundation. So Eric Dixon kept posting in yesterday's thread, we gotta destroy the Constitution. We gotta destroy the Constitution, right? You can't just plug it up because from its foundation, from its very foundation, it was rotten. So I want to play, and that was a 17-minute clip that I sent you guys from a TED Talks. This is only going to be about maybe 2 minutes, but I want you guys to watch it, and then we'll have a little bit of conversation about it, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. Let's see if I can get it. Here we go.
In his final State of the Union, President Obama was talking about the need in our nation for new politics. And he said, "We the people." Our Constitution begins with these three simple words, words we've come to recognize mean all the people. Now, when I heard that, as a native man, I had to stop and ask when. I've read our founding documents, I've studied our history, I see the current political environment, and I had to question, when did we decide as a nation that we the people actually means all the people? Let me demonstrate. Invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens and pagans whatsoever. Reduce their persons to perpetual slavery, convert them to his and to their use and profit. These are the words of Pope Nicholas V in a papal bull written in 1452. Now, this papal bull, along with other papal bulls written between 1452 and 1493, collectively are known as what we call the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery is essentially the church in Europe saying to the nations of Europe, wherever you go, whatever lands you find not ruled by white European Christian rulers, those people are subhuman and their lands are yours for the taking. This is literally the doctrine that let European nations go into Africa, colonize the continent, and enslave the people. They didn't believe them to be human. This is the same doctrine that let Columbus, who was lost at sea, land in this new world, which was already inhabited by millions, and claimed to have discovered it. If you think about it, you cannot discover lands already inhabited. If you don't believe me, leave your cell phones, your smartphones, your car keys, your laptops out. I'll come by and discover them for you. Clearly, this is not discovery, right? This is stealing, this is conquering, this is colonizing. The fact that to this day we have a national holiday honoring Christopher Columbus as the discoverer of America reveals the implicit racial bias of the nation, which is that indigenous peoples, people of color, are not fully human. So this makes the doctrine of discovery a systemically white supremacist doctrine that assumes the dehumanization of indigenous peoples. Literally 30 lines below the statement, all men are created equal, the Declaration of Independence refers to natives as merciless Indian savages, making it very clear the only reason our founding fathers used this inclusive term, all men, because they had a very narrow definition of who was actually human. This, of course, makes our Declaration of Independence a systemically white supremacist document that assumes the dehumanization of indigenous peoples. Now, a few years later, our founding fathers wrote another document. They started this one with the words, "We the people of the United States." This, of course, is the preamble to the Constitution. However, if you read just a few lines later, down to Article 1, Section 2, Article 1, Section 2 is the section of the Constitution that defines who is and who is not covered by this Constitution, who is and who is not a part of this union. If you read Article 1, Section 2, the first thing you will note is it never mentions women. This is important because if you read the entire Constitution from preamble through the 27th Amendment, you will find that there are 51 gender-specific male pronouns in regards to who can run for office, who can hold office, even who is protected by this document. 51 he, him, and his, and not a single female pronoun. So we first have to note, Article 1, Section 2 never mentions women. Second, it specifically excludes natives. And third, it counts Africans as 3/5 of a person. So who's left? Well, white landowning men is who could vote.
So, if we understand the origins of the Constitution, right? It lays out, or he laid out, and then there's more. So you guys, I would encourage you, and there are other TED Talks that I can post in this link, which kind of lay it all out. So when I say, well, what are we fighting? What are we fighting against, and what are we fighting for? I fear that, we're not focused on the right stuff, right? So, when we understand the origins of our discontent, right? This caste system, you gotta, how do you not look at this? And this is kind of where we ended off yesterday. And I said, I'm going to send you some stuff. So how do we not look at all of this and realize that you can't restore that soul of America, right? Like, because that was the origins, right? So from that point onward, from the time that 3/5 not human, women not considered, just white landowners considered to be the people, right? And then you look at the current makeup of our government by and large. Is it much different looking in terms of white men, right? How do you, and then everybody is still going to those same white men for justice, whether it's women going to them or bottom caste people going to them. How do we not finally look at it and say, it's just all rotten to the core, and anybody who's trying to build a house on it, it's bound to fail? Call or go.
Hey,
hey, man.
morning, guys. Just to add to what you're saying, you got to look at the Constitution as a mythical article. And Vincent said yesterday, because Alexander Hamilton was in the room, that it made everything equal for everybody else. And this is part of the problem. He was there, but one person being of a minority that probably don't identify with being black, don't make things equal. One person getting on the job don't make the job a equal opportunity place. And we got to start looking at the Constitution as a mythical document in that, and I hate to disagree with Eric Dixon, but he's a cool brother. But the words, if you know it's a mythical document, then you can use the words. The very words in the document can be used against you. And I think some of our greatest advancement was because people realized that early on, like Frederick Douglass, later on Martin Luther King, and all of these kind of people, they used the words against them in a way and spoke plainly to people what was going on in the words. Yeah, and like the gentleman said, I would definitely like to know what TED Talk that is, because I like to ride and listen to stuff like that.
Okay.
But
I'll put the link in the thread.
all right. On Facebook, I'm on
YouTube?
I think I'm on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it in there.
But yeah, that's basically, one person being in the room don't mean it's going to be equal for all black people. We got to stop looking at things like that. That's sort of backwards. Conception.
And I'm sorry, are you done?
No, yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
Well, that is true. One person in the room does not make it equal. In the sight of when you look at the macro of society and its norms. However, one person can make the difference. One person, the first person, or the only person in the room, the one person in the room that made a difference. Hank Aaron was that one person. Willie Mays, that one person. You know, and I forget his name, the first black NBA player, that one person who made the difference. And look at the NBA now. And see what, please let me, if we
Those are bad examples.
But your kitchen sinking, Vincent.
Well, here is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
We keep accepting the simple fact that we've got one in a room and not pushing for more. We keep accepting the fact or taking our foot off the gas when we've got one black president. When we got one black vice president, we keep accepting the simple fact of the one and not gearing up to get the next one in the room. And that's where we keep running into problems. We keep letting our foot off the gas. We don't get equality until we get equitable representation. And one person, it's a hell of a job. It's much easier with 2, 3, 4, and more.
Okay.
I completely, I understand that approach. But let me ask you this: why do you think they made segregation illegal? Why do you think they did that?
Well, because of the one person that stood up and that ignited or lit or started the spark of other people standing up. And it got to the point where segregation and fighting against the Jim Crow laws and civil rights and the ability to vote was one of those things where America got to see its hypocrisy. People who did not fight back, who were like sheep's led to the slaughter, which brought about that emotional change that people were like, y'all gotta stop this. The laws aren't fair anyway, and they're not giving up.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask you that is because it's like a pressure cooker, right? And which when they ended segregated, it started the trickling of the let me put it right, the gradual emancipation of us going into the larger society. But the reason they had to end it because we were all in communities together, the lawyers, the doctors, the most educated people were being segregated and were strategizing in their own communities to bust out. But what ended up happening is they made it illegal, and it started the one this, the one that, the one this, and we were like, we accepted it, and we still continue to accept the gradual emancipation into society because they've always been able to see the building of power and be able to diffuse the power.
Okay.
But
Wait, we got another caller. Caller, go.
Hello?
I'm not letting Vincent off that easy with some more.
I knew she wasn't.
Right? So he said yesterday that the Constitution, that it was for all of us, right? And he said it was for all of us based on the fact that some religious black man was in the room. So I don't.
Thomas Jefferson was.
So I want to clarify the Constitution, right? That it wasn't for us, right? That it mentions slaves in 3 different ways. It calls us other persons, such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit, and a person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof, right? Abraham Lincoln said about the Constitution that if a visitor from a foreign land would simply have no way of knowing that race-based slavery even existed in America at the time the Constitution was written, right? He says, thus, the thing is hid away in the Constitution, just as an afflicted man hides away a wound or a cancer, which he dares not cut out at once, lest he bleed to death. So I don't want to get off into some other conversation where now Vincent wants to give us some more rhetoric about us being in the room and the one man in the room, and then all the people can know, right? That Constitution that you were talking about yesterday, that you were basing on your argument that we were going to restore the soul of America, right, was a flawed argument, was technically a lie, because it was not about us. We were enslaved when they wrote it. I don't know how anything positive could have been written by a man who would enslave another human being based on his race. So just admit that, but don't talk about it. Don't give me no more rhetoric. Don't say that you got away. Don't tell me about Jesse Jackson or Humphrey Bogart. Like, I don't want none of that, right? Just admit that what you said yesterday, your reference to Joe Biden restoring America based on what was
Restoring the souls of America.
Because what? You get it, right? Don't start fixing it now. All I want you to say is, where in the hell, or how in the hell did you ever equate restoring the soul of America, black people, in the Constitution as one intricate conversation? I don't understand that. I just want you to explain it.
Well, Jody, let me express this to you. If you're waiting for me to say those words in which you want to hear out of my mouth, don't hold your breath. The second thing is this: the Constitution may not have been written for us, but it was written to us. Or maybe I got it wrong.
All right, ready?
No, so
Again.
Jody, please, Jody.
No, let him finish, Jody. Let him finish.
Jody.
Go ahead, Vincent. I've cleared the deck for you, Vincent. I've cleared the deck. Vincent, no, Vincent. I've cleared Vincent. I've cleared it. Vincent.
Will you not let me speak because
Vincent!
you know that
Can he not hear me?
argument is flawed?
Wait a minute. Can he not hear me?
Which I don't want to believe that you're naturally rude.
Vincent, can you not hear me? Wait, Jody. Wait, Jody. Vincent, can you not hear me? Wait, no. Jody. Vincent, can you not hear me in real time?
I can't hear you over Jody.
No, but I'm literally, while you were talking, I kept saying, you got the floor, and you continue. So I just want to make sure you can hear me in real time. Okay, so you got the floor. Go ahead. You didn't need to. So all of that other narrative I was trying to cut out by saying you got the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. Now, just because they didn't have it with us in mind, are we not citizens of this country? Are we not naturally born citizens of this country? Which, according to the Constitution, it applies to us. Therefore,
No, let him finish. Please let him finish. No, Mike.
Eric is right. Let him
Please. Let him finish.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
The problem that we keep see, the beauty of the civil rights movement is Dr. King and a lot of the great thinkers understood that it wasn't the simple fact of what we needed and what we want in injustice. It was the fact that the injustice was backed up by legislation and laws are backed up by politicians, and politicians get voted in. So when we vote for the politician that has our best interest, we could work on bringing those changes. Yet here today, that was awarded to us. Then we stand on the backs of those giants. Yet the big problem that we have is that we keep going backwards instead of pushing it forward. We keep going back to that stuff instead of saying that, okay, we won this. We have the numbers, which this year alone, this last election cycle alone, proved the ideology of Dr. King and all the rest of them right. We can exact change when we get off of our behinds and vote. But people sit up there and they don't vote, or they vote for, or because they don't think that it's going to work, or they don't want to get out there and do something simple like knock on the door or call a friend or talk or have the discussion about it because they feel like it doesn't work, and then it doesn't work, and we're in the same situation. But yet those same people who don't vote are the biggest ones who don't have a dog in the fight, yet consistently complaining. Okay, now you have it.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you brought up voting. If they have to continue, if they have to
I didn't know I was
continue,
heard. Okay.
if they have to continue to redo the Voting Rights Act every so often, we do not have full rights in this country. At any time, they can decide not to sign the renewing of the Voters' Rights Act, and we will be without a vote in this country. I'm glad you brought that up.
No, Vincent, wait. Vincent.
I'd like to join the conversation. This is Eric Dixon.
What up, Steve?
How you doing, gentlemen? I've been listening to this conversation. I listened to the conversation yesterday. At the end of the day, I don't think Vince is a bad person, but I think you're being intellectually dishonest while you're debating this point. There is no way that anybody with any sane mind can say that they believe that the Constitution was written for black people, to them, for them, or otherwise. That was not the case. We were property, and today we were still property, no matter how you slice it. We just faced with money right now. Eric,
let him finish.
No, let me
finish.
If you do not re-sign that Voters' Rights Act, you will be without the right to vote. But
Eric Dixon, let me express this to you. When they originally wrote that part of the Constitution, the big fight that Jefferson and Hamilton were fighting against is that they wanted to say they're all white men. And then they started fighting to say that no, that is not right, and that is not under, and that is not. Please, Eric, please let me finish. 10 years now, they changed that part to say all men, which is inclusive of all men. The biggest issue that we have is not with the Constitution. The biggest issue that we have is that when we go for justice, they take those words and manipulate it to their favor. And we don't stand against it.
Wait, 1 second, Vincent. 1 second, Vincent. Wait.
Because it starts plainly that you're a human being.
Wait, so Vincent, the part that I just, Vincent.
Compromise. He just showed you the head in the beginning. And it says it goes beyond the Constitution. It goes to a religious base that came into this country to make sure that white land-owning, property-owning males were the dominant figures in the society.
Right.
Period.
So stop. Wait, Vincent. Vincent, I'm going to hang up on you. I am hanging up on Vincent. Vincent? Okay, hold on. I got to hang up on, and I hate to do this. Vincent, no. Hey guys, listen, guys.
Was using dominance as a means of restitution.
1 second. Vincent.
That's what they were going for.
Vincent.
They got defeated in the Supreme
Court.
No. Yes, it is. Believe me, I know.
Okay, I hung up on everybody, and people will call back. If we can't have a conversation through which I can moderate, and people are willing to stop to allow folks to talk, then it will just be a monologue for the rest of the show. This is absolutely insane. Hello, caller? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, Jody. Let us agree that, because the idea of filibustering and talking over, we don't accomplish anything, right? And so when Vincent calls back in, hold on for 1 second. I think this is, I don't know who this is. Hello, caller?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was disconnected.
No.
But,
right, so I'm resetting the room, right? Because I need to I need to be able to make sure that people can hear, right? And that's why I asked Vincent in the beginning whether or not he, more than any of you guys, right? Because he's co-hosting this with me, so he has to help me keep order in the room. So
I apologize. I'm driving again, and maybe I'm gonna be all over the place as far as my argument.
No.
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter where you are in the argument. It's just that everybody is given an opportunity to speak, and that we're not speaking over each other, so that folks who listen to the show
Right. Well,
can
it's
hear.
hard for me to hear, and I apologize
No.
again. But go
All
ahead.
right.
I'm sorry.
Let me see if I can get. Okay, here's Vincent. 1 second. Hey, Vincent.
Yes.
Okay, so I reset the room, and what I want to try to do is I don't know if you can hear me, because I'm talking and you just keep talking, and so I'm trying to stop the conversation to get it focused, and you keep talking. So I don't know whether
I
you
can't hear you.
Okay, so I need you to be able to, because if you can't, then it just gets out of control, right? And then we're talking over each other. The idea is to allow folks to finish their thought and then to follow it with an answer, right? So when folks are talking and then there's interruption and I say let them finish, that doesn't get through. But what I want to
see,
wait,
wait. I'm listening.
Right? So in the beginning, I started this by playing a portion of a TED Talk where he outlined the undergirding of the language in the Constitution and talked specifically about how, who was considered, why they were considered, and who wasn't considered. So I want to start there. Is there a disagreement with what was said in that TED Talk? And we'll start right there. See, because we have to be able to agree on some things, or understand that there's a fundamental disagreement on that. So so can we agree, or do we agree, that as he outlined that the Constitution, the preamble, when it said all men, or we the people, right? The people talking that they were talking about were white land owners only. Can we agree to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree to that, of course.
Okay. And so from that, I think the conversation is, well, if those people wrote that, and that's what was agreed on, and everybody else, indigenous to this country, and those who were kidnapped and brought here and enslaved, as well as women, were all not quite considered human or people.
They were all considered not included.
So no, wait a minute. Wait, Vincent, wait. Right? So, because I want to go by this slowly. We the people. So that means that everybody else weren't people. So I want to go slow through this. We the people. So if now you're identifying who are people, well then, what is the classification of everyone else?
Okay, well, I can tell you that classification. Now,
No, just tell me that. No, I don't want a big, long-winded thing.
it's not going to be big and long,
Go ahead.
but it would be nice if I could just get it out.
Go ahead.
Now that I can hear you.
Go ahead.
The classification or the exclusion occurred because...
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you that. See, I want to keep focused. I'm saying to you, they clearly identified people. And we just agreed that the people were white male landowners. Those were the people. So what was everyone else?
Well, it was considered white males. It didn't matter if they were landowners.
Okay, fine. Fine. So what was everyone else?
What was
That's
everyone
not always
else?
true because white people were also indentured slaves.
Correct. Correct. That's no. But white people who were that were slaves during that time period, slavery was a period of what they call apprenticeship for white people.
No. Stay focused on what I'm asking. Please don't get off the. Please.
There's not a color variation at that point.
But no,
guys,
earlier in that point, it didn't matter.
You move right for the purpose. Listen, for the purposes of control, right, and voting and decision making, they were landowners.
Correct.
Right. Right. So those were the people. So what was?
No. For the purpose of decision making, they were landowners.
That's what I just said.
That's why they just removed the title freeholder.
So that's what I just. But I just said that. So when they said "we the people," right? They were referring to them, right? Right. And so, what was everyone else?
Everyone else was classified as either savage, which they considered the American Indians, ignorant, or property, which they considered the slaves.
Right.
And
considered the wives property too.
And no, wives were considered genteel, or not strong enough strong enough or smart enough.
That's fine.
To actually understand the rigors of politics.
Right. Got it. But they were all. But right. So what I'm saying to you is this, right? So and this is what I was getting to. So those people, we the people, defined a caste system, saying we're here now under white, right? Women are genteel, right? That's where they are. Then below that, you had savages and you had all of these other ones, right? That's what I'm saying to you. So in the Constitution, they established a caste system, which is what I was saying yesterday. And so now,
no, let me clarify that, Eric. The caste system.
So then I'm gonna go back and ask you the same. I'm gonna ask you the same question again.
American caste system was integrated and established in the Constitution to gain exclusive or inclusiveness of who was eligible for those top positions. Okay.
What?
So if we can agree upon that.
No, that didn't make sense. I didn't understand what you said. Say that one more time.
I said the caste system that you like to refer to in terms of the classifications of other people gave variations of why they were not allowed or included in the practice of legislation, voting, etc. Or in basic terms, power. So that was women, foreigners, and indigenous.
What about the slaves?
Slaves at that time were considered foreigners, just like other people who came in.
They were,
except for the white people who
Let me
came
ask
in
you a
with the
question.
period of
Those
naturalization.
foreigners were never able to go back. My whole point of this is to say that you're giving these savages, is what I would actually at this point call them, that, you know, the founding fathers and all of this stuff, you're giving them more credit than they really, really, really deserve. I really believe that. Because at the end of the day, where was their humanity when they were whipping the hell out of our fathers on these plantations in the South? Where was their humanity when they were raping our mothers and our sisters? Where was their humanity in all of that? You're telling me that you think that they felt like, oh, well, they could just do that to us because they're just that much better people than us? No. We were a business, and we're still a business, and you got to realize that. What's your part in America? It's not to be the owners of America or the purveyors of America. It's certainly not that.
It is to be the commodity.
It has the same advantages that their kids have.
It is to be. Eric,
because you keep
Vincent,
Vincent, raping everybody.
Okay, Vincent. I'm gonna hang up again.
Are you kidding me?
Eric.
You're kidding me, right?
Eric.
No, Vincent.
Again.
Vincent, I'm gonna hang up again.
Again, Eric.
Vincent, I'm going to hang. Vincent.
Okay, I hear Eric Dawson in the
Yes,
background.
I'm like, this is crazy. Either you guys can't hear me, like I don't understand. I really don't understand. Like just a little restraint. So, Vincent,
So can I address that, or?
well, no, I don't know which part of it you want to address.
Well, let's look at the simple fact that, you know what,
But I just want to make sure you can hear me. Like, it's important that I know that you can hear me and that you're not just talking over me when I'm trying to reset the room.
No, I can hear you, but it's hard for me to hear you when I'm talking and then he talks over me and then you want to cut in. So I can't. That part gets very difficult. Okay. Now I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that and tell you that, you know what, I was happy with the way that people were treated because those are my ancestors. And no, I'm not going to sit up here and glorify or romanticize what they have done in our history. And that's not me either. One thing that you will know about me is that I'm unapologetically black, but I'm also not extremely radicalized about a lot of things. I went through that period. It got me nowhere. Now, the next thing that you have to come to realize and understand is this. In the classification, in the system, in the caste, in the Constitution, the best thing about our Constitution that no other country has is our Constitution has the ability to change. So, during the changes, we have now women's suffrage, which gave them the same rights. We have the black suffrage, which gave them the same rights, and we have the Native American movement, which gave them the same rights. All of that changed. Now, the problem that we keep having, and that because we keep going back to, is everybody is primarily dealing with the smoke and mirrors of the past and not looking or planning for the future. Don't sit up here and complain constantly about, the treatment of black people when you're not even registered to vote and you don't vote. Don't sit up here and talk about how bad the school systems are when you don't go to any meetings, nor do you take any effect in your child's education. You don't ask about homework.
Vincent,
you don't look at homework. You get the report card and you want to raise
Vincent.
Okay, I heard my name.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I don't think that there's anybody here, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't say that we need to vote, that we need to hold our electeds accountable, that we need to be more engaged in our families, and that we need to clean up our filthy neighborhoods, right? That we need to do all of those things. I don't think that there's anybody suggesting at all that we shouldn't be doing those things. But what I am concerned about is that there's this narrative that I hear from you that suggests that this infrastructure that's holding up the house that we live in, right? That you're saying that we need to be responsible for how we tidy up these rooms. That the very infrastructure, right, has been designed and is actively working against us. And that, wait a minute, and that we ought not pay attention to that, right? But that we should pay attention to the room. And what I'm saying is, it's all built on and around this system. And this system has created an environment, right, which precludes in some cases accomplishing some of the things that you say ought to be accomplished. And to get to those things, we have to focus on this thing. And so for me, like I said yesterday, when I have a newly minted president who says, I want to restore the soul of America. It makes my ears perk up. Look from my perspective as a descendant of kidnapped and enslaved Africans and say, well, show me in this timeline when I should be happy about what the soul of America was.
Well, again, Eric, you make a statement that you want me to address that has so many twists and turns and disingenuous comments that came from me that it's so difficult sometimes to pick up on all of them. But let me address one. First and foremost, if I'm giving you the impression that I'm happy with the way the system is, then I've given you the wrong impression. The reason that I ran for public office is because I wanted to make change, and I wasn't going to be one to sit there and talk about it. Now, what I'm saying to you is this. Yes, a lot of people are descendants of slaves, and some aren't. And they're dealing with injustice, just as those who aren't. But the big difference is this, okay? The movement that we had in the 60s with Dr. King and Malcolm X and all of them, they were galvanized to exact a change rather than to complain about it. And they knew the most important thing that they could do to bring change because the injustices were held up by laws.
Stop for a second.
Were written by politicians. And the politicians were elected. So if we got the opportunity to vote, we can make that change. If you're talking about restoring the soul of America, then let's look at then maybe one thing that you should ask or look at is what is Biden talking about in restoring the soul of America? Because the soul that he wants to restore may not be the soul that you want restored.
Right, but wait a minute. Firstly, I want to say to you this. If you don't believe, and I'll give you books, if you don't believe that both Malcolm and Martin were complaining about the system as well as fighting, and you're doing both. What are you talking about?
Yes, but we're talking about a group of people who are only doing one.
No, wait a minute. No. I'm just correcting your narrative because you said, and I wish I could hit replay right now, that they weren't complaining, they were doing. And that's not true. They were complaining and doing. Point of clarification.
No, they got past the complaining and they got on to the...
No, they never got past the complaining. They never got past the complaining. They were doing, but they never got past the complaining. And so,
listen. That's a whole different split here. But let's move this forward to the next one. Okay, the next issue. Because of the simple fact,
No. Well, no. So yeah, Jody's been waiting.
Want to enforce is that they were doing.
So,
and we got a lot of people who are just complaining.
Oh no, I don't listen. I don't disagree. See, I don't disagree. And again, I started this part by saying I don't think there's anybody in here in this conversation that's saying that everybody shouldn't be doing. My concern is that you're saying that we shouldn't be complaining.
Oh, okay. Well, no. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be.
Okay, then we're done. No, then we're done. Then you don't need. No. You don't need to go further. Then you don't need to go.
Further.
No, you don't.
If you have a misunderstanding, and I want you to understand.
No, I understand. We should be able to complain and do.
30 seconds.
No, I'm not going to give you 30 seconds. We should be able to complain and do. Jody, go.
Can I say something?
Yes, Jody, go. Go, Jody.
Can I say something?
Go, Jody.
So this is interesting, right? Because I'm gonna take a note, right? He turned this all the way around. He did just what they do, right? At the end, when that argument became shit, he became the slave master, right? He told us that the colonizers, some of them wasn't that bad. Not all of them beat their slaves. Not all of them talk unfriendly to their slaves. They just had them in bondage, so that was okay. That was like the end argument where there was no other argument. There was the slave master.
Well, first of all,
let her finish.
I'm sorry. I heard a pause. Go ahead.
Things are moving slow. We don't vote. We just put his boy into office. And he said, we don't vote. We don't care about our children. This is what he said. And I listened. I shut up so I could hear him specifically. By the end of it, massive blame the slave. Listen, you here because you slow, and you not equal, and you lazy, so I'm gonna whip you to do the work. At the end of this, because the bottom line is, you and Eric Dixon were trying too hard. I told you yesterday. Some of these jokers, you gotta leave them. You just gotta leave them. Because at the end of the day, this started out as a very specified argument, right? And he could slop chop and make noises to hope that he could drown out some sensibility in his mastery of delusion, right? They started out as simply him saying that the Constitution was the basis and Joe Biden was going to restore the state of America back to the Constitution. He didn't care. Vincent doesn't care that we were in slavery when that document was made. He doesn't care that they kept coming back.
Let me stop.
Let her finish. Let her finish.
Because
Let her finish.
Is two things.
Let her
One, it's a lie, because two, you don't know what the hell I care about. You just want to basically say that to prove your point.
Let her finish. Let her finish. Let her finish.
The fact that I do this is because I care.
Let her finish.
Go ahead.
I proved my point. I proved my point yesterday. We are now drowning in you trying to solidify yours, right? So you keep twirling it. And every time you twirl it, you get just as dirty and knee deep in the trash as they do. So at the end, it became, you want to get the restore the soul that Joe Biden and black people do better. You victims, and you just victim shame. You said that we didn't care about our children's education. You said that we didn't care about voting, even though we put your sloppy boy into office. That was black people who served him that office, right? And then you started talking about law.
Again, Jody, let me stop you. Let me stop you there, because you're wrong about quoting me again. Now, I simply said that I'm tired of people who complain about the person in office when they don't vote. I'm tired of people who complain about what's going on with their school, with their children in school, and they don't go to a board meeting, nor do they check their child's homework. Now, if you're going to quote me, if you're taking notes, then please take the right notes.
Again, you just said what I said. You just tried to rhetoric it out, right? But at the end of the day, you blamed the people, right? So if I vote. I get a right to complain. All those 81 million you talked about yesterday that voted, they get a right to complain. That's what we do. When we see something wrong, we call it out. We don't give excuse after excuse after excuse. Blame the
Jody, then tell me, in the 28 days in office, what did he do wrong? Tell me.
Uh-oh.
You gonna do that again?
Wait a minute.
You want to get that one again?
Click that again. Tell me. Make it clear to me, Jody.
No, let her talk. Vincent,
what did he do wrong?
Let her answer the question.
He didn't do his intention right for us, right? For me. He didn't do that right. Those 45 executive orders changed nothing. And when I say me, Vincent, I'm like you, my man. Unlike you, my man. When I say me, I'm encompassing my whole community. I am my community. They are me. We move to see that we get something out of the kitty for one time. And you still excusing the behavior. You've talked about laws, but he won't put one legislation on the floor for me and my community. That's how we got here. That's how this conversation, but we keep allowing you to take us back. We can't even move the conversation forward because you're so busy making excuses for the behavior, right? So we talked about the Constitution. I've proven my point. When they wrote the Constitution, our people were in bondage. I was not a part of that Constitution. So please find another way of saying what Joe Biden is trying to restore. Right? Because if he restores America back to where you're talking about, shit, we'd all be in slavery today.
according to your definition.
No, according to my definition, if Donald Trump made America great again, we would be back in slavery.
Well, where would we be? No, wait, stop, Jody, 1 second. Jody, 1 second. Jody, 1 second. No, Vincent. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So my question is this. If we hear Trump as descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, if we hear Trump say, "Make America great again," that translates to you as "we be back in slavery." So I got that. But when you hear Biden say, "Restore the soul of America," right? What does that translate to you?
As I said yesterday, when Biden said restore the soul of America, to me that translates to this, okay? The original ideal of the framers, or reimagining the original purpose of the framers, where all men are created equal. Now, what has he done in terms of working on restoring that? Let's look at his level the playing field executive order that he has rights working on. Yes, looking at investigating and prosecuting people for their injustices against my people, or as Jody says, the community in which I represent. Let's look at now bringing vaccines exclusively for people of color, not in the hospitals, but in their own community centers.
Right.
To give them a fighting chance against this virus.
Right.
Let's look at the restoration memorandum that has now gone into a committee, which goes on to the next step and getting basically compensating for what our ancestors have went through. Let's look at those that are directly for black people, or my people, one second. Community.
Don't say anything.
He did nothing.
Wait.
And we dealt with a man for 4 years who did nothing.
Right. Okay.
And Jody, besides me, you were the only person who agreed with me that Trump did nothing.
Wait a minute. So now wait. So again, back into the context of where we are. Right? Because I want to get to where we are. What, like I said yesterday, what are we fighting for? And what are we fighting against? What is the disease and what are the symptoms, right? So the things that you outlined, right, are things that Biden talks about addressing, which are symptoms to a disease, right? This disease called racism, which is undergirded by a system of caste. And so for me, I'm saying if all you're throwing out are deflectionary executive orders, right, to say, hey, I know you got the sniffles, so I'm going to give you a tissue. I'm not going to help you resolve your cold. I'm just going to give you a tissue and be happy that you're sitting over there, your nose is still running, and you still got a cold and your chest is congested, but be happy you got a tissue. I'm going, no, I want to go deeper. And I'm saying to you that everything about this administration, right, says to me that they're not attacking the core issue facing bottom people here in America.
Well, see, and that's the whole thing, Eric. You're looking, and let's keep with the situation of the sniffles. See, we all know there is no cure for the cold.
Okay, let's not play semantics. Okay, no, because I'm not gonna. I'm not. No, Vincent, I'm not going to. Vincent, no, because I'm not gonna allow you to. Vincent, because that's no, I'm not. Vincent,
cannot change because of its ingrained, and it has to run its course like diarrhea. And then there are certain things that we can cure.
Vincent,
but the cure can't be worse than the disease. We want to radicalize a lot of things, and which basically we need to let it run its course, let them have their diarrhea, let it run out, and then we move forward.
So we need moderation.
Correct.
And what did Dr. King say?
What
did Dr. King say about
some things we need moderation, and some things we just need an enema.
Yeah, and I think that it's enema time. I think it's enema time. Right. Okay. So listen. I had an interesting like mini debate today because I posted something last night on my thread. Let me get to it. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are considering invoking the 14th Amendment to bar Trump from running for office, right? And you guys, just in case you didn't know, the 14th Amendment says no person shall be a senator or a representative in Congress or elector of president or vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, but Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Right? So that seems to be where they're going. And I want to get your thoughts on it. But then I had somebody who posted in the thread that it wasn't an insurrection. So for me, I'm saying to myself, like, if they're just like basic things, just like this thing here, that we just can't agree on, like today is Tuesday. But to engage in argument with somebody who says, no, it's Monday, it kind of puts you back on your heels and go, well, wow, we can't go forward until we can first agree that it's Tuesday, right? So I asked him, I said, well, how do you not define this as an insurrection? And so I Jody, Vincent, Eric, Mike, it just made me throw my hands up and go, what the hell? Like, am I living in an alternate universe here?
No, you know what the problem is, Eric? So I saw that, right? And when I saw it, I went directly to, I want to be like specific, but some people I don't argue it anymore, right? How is an insurrection defined? So it's defined as...
Mute your phone, please.
It's defined as a violent uprising against an authority or government, right? So that's what it was, right? That's what it was. At the same time, right, and this is where I think the problem is, right, it is if you watch the people, right, so I watch people on social media, you watch the people, right, to that person, that wasn't about saying that didn't happen because they're being specific to the definition of what an insurrection is and what is the difference between an insurrection and a riot, right? That's just someone that has an issue with the party. So anything that party does, they're going to say, no. Just like, that's it. There's no other reason. So I'm going to say that wasn't an insurrection, right? So while that was an insurrection, right, I still gave the fact that what is Schumer doing, right? What are they doing at this juncture, right? They're not operating because they want to bring back the soul of America, so they want to do all they can to stop Donald Trump. No. They're worried about an election 2 years down the line. Meanwhile, a John Lewis bill ain't moved. Meanwhile, the George Floyd bill didn't move. Right? Because the difference is, which is my problem that I'm like out of breath, so angry this morning, is until we get to a place, right, where we're not standing on a party, that we're standing fundamentally for what is best for us.
Yes, ma'am.
We are able to say, you wrong, and you wrong. And we want all of y'all to get it together. Then we want to stay stuck on stupid.
But Jody, but part of the challenge is, right, and we, that whole narrative, that slave mentality, where the slave said, when the master was sick, right, and the slave said, "We sick, we sick." This is where we are. So when you said that our interests, we are not focused on our interests. We're focused on some interests that have nothing, some white folk shit that's going on that ain't got nothing to do with us. We're engaged in, right? We're engaged at some top caste bullshit. Right? Where at the end of the day, like I said, whether you're talking about Hillary Clinton or you're talking about Donald Trump, neither of them will ever want to trade places with me. That says to me they're on the same team. They're just arguing over tactics, how to get and achieve their objective. That is it. Right? And so Hillary thinks that he's crass. Oh, he grabs women by the pussies. Oh, we shouldn't say that. That's why they don't allow Donald Trump into certain aristocratic circles, right? Because they say he's crass. But that's it. But he's still white.
But her husband, right? But her husband, I did not have sex with that woman.
Oh, no doubt. But see, understand, Jody, it was the manner in which he said it. See, Bill Clinton wasn't crass. You understand what I'm saying? So Bill Clinton, so you could do the same thing. It's just how you do it. So if you do it with an ascot, right? Or you show up on Arsenio Hall show and you play to some black people, right? You can do these kinds of things. But when you do like Donald Trump did, say, hey, look, I don't care what you say. I don't care how you feel about it. I'm going to speak it the way it's just going to flow out of me. People looked and they were appalled by it. Not by his behavior, but by his manner. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But at the end of the day...
So if Bill Clinton said, if instead of Bill Clinton saying I did not have sexual relationships with that woman, if he said I ain't F that B, then that makes it wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh listen. I'm certainly saying to you that decorum in that upper caste matters. It matters. Right?
It doesn't matter what you say; it's how you say it.
It's how you say it. Yes. Yes. Do you remember in the scene which is really funny, in the scene in the Matrix? Remember I forgot the guy, the French guy, the guy who was at the table with Morpheus and Neo and Trinity, right? And they were trying to find the key maker, and then he said whatever he said in French, and he said, you can tell somebody to kiss your ass, but if you say it in French, it just sounds so beautiful, right? See, it's about how you say it, it's not what you say. And so Hillary, right? Hillary, and when they yanked her back when she wanted to come out and say what was on her mind about bringing them to heel, right? And her real feelings about Black Lives Matter. And they said, oh, no, Hillary. No, Hillary, right? So Hillary cleaned it up, right, the way she should have. But when they said to Donald, yo, Donald, you can't say that. He said, yeah, I can. You see, that was the issue. That was the issue. And we got to be real clear on that. And so none of them, and that's why the words matter, right? So when somebody says, so when we say what are our interests, my interest is not restoring the soul of America. I'm going to be clear about that. That is not my interest, because I understand the history of America. And so there's nowhere in that timeline that was good for my ancestors or good for me.
Well, he didn't say that he was going to restore America to that timeline that was unpleasing.
No, let us be clear. Wait a minute, Vincent, let us be clear. Words matter, right? Soul, the essence. That's what soul means, the essence. So the essence of America. The very being, the very DNA. That's what it means. Are you kidding me?
No, it doesn't. No. Slavery was not the essence.
No, I'm talking about what soul means, Vincent. Soul.
Okay.
It means the very essence.
Yes.
Yes!
Now, in terms of that, when he was referring to Trump and restoring the soul of America, is that Trump had America in a very dire state, a very soulless and careless state, a very Trumpian state where it's what Trump says, what Trump wants, and F everybody else or who he hurts.
So
Now,
remember, right? Let's just keep it to the streets, right? Yesterday, he meant that the soul to return the soul of America was to take it back to the
idealism
of our forefathers. Right? This is the definition he gave. Today, we're going to change what he meant by the soul. That now it's not about the Constitution and the religious black man that was in the room. Now it's about he meant that he was going to bring back the soul pre-Donald Trump. You can find it.
No, that's not.
You can play it, right? Because in our world, right, in the black folk world, right, it was messy before Donald Trump. It was soulless before Donald Trump. It was soulless during Clinton. It was soulless during Obama. It was soulless during George Washington. It was soulless. So you can keep trying to define your answer to suit your moment, Vincent, and ain't nobody buying that shit you selling. End of story. I don't even know why we're still talking to you about this because, as I said yesterday, Eric, some people gotta leave them in the ditch.
Right, but Jody, but it's not so much. But it's for like I think. But how can I say this? So whether it's the conversations we have here or the ones that I have in my thread, right? And you said it, right? It is about us fighting for. So I said, what are we fighting for? It's got to be our interests, but understanding what those are, right? And then I just make assumptions that because people are black, right, or share the same skin color, that we all understand it. And I'm going, no, like there's nothing, when you have people say that racism, casteism, all of this is baked into the very DNA of America. That means that there is nothing fundamentally good, right? It's in the DNA. You have to deconstruct it all of it. And so to try, like I said 2 days ago, right? You're trying to be like the Dutch boy in the dike, right? Trying to plug up all these holes, but every time, and you run out of phalanges. You got no more fingers to plug them up with. And it's leaking all over and we're drowning. Blow it up. Don Lemon said blow it up.
I think a lot is lost in translation. It was like on routes when they were in the bottom of the ship and everybody.
Oh, you're right.
I direct what they were saying. This one over here speak this language, that one speak that language. I think Vincent, not to pick on Vincent, but
well, why not? Everybody else seems to be doing it today. Vincent his translation is throwing everybody for a loop because it tends to me it sounds a lot like classism, and when you say that you don't, why we just can't go forward, people keep wanting to go back. We have to understand. I want you to understand this clearly. We have to know what went on behind us to know what's going on around us. If we go forward and it's like going into a deep fog, you can end up bumping into anything because it's not, you won't recognize it. And we have to understand that what Jody is saying, what Eric is saying, is vitally important, and what you're saying is vitally important. And we do. Hold on. Okay.
We do need to understand that a lot of stuff gets lost in translation. But the reason I called back was to talk about the 14th Amendment. The 13th, 14th, 15th was at the end of what they call the end of slavery. exemption clause. The 14th, the reason that they want to use the 14th Amendment and why the person didn't see it as an insurrection is because it's coming from people who are on that side of the battlefield who seeing how the numbers are drastically changing in this country, and they don't want it to change and mess up their little bit of money. They don't want it to change and mess up their position. They don't want it to change and push them in the position that the bottom class is in.
That's right.
It's and so when you talk about using that's post-slavery addition to the Constitution, in that the reason they put that in there was because they know people were going to get to this point right here where they don't give a damn about nobody's voting rights. They don't give a damn about nobody else but their own selfish, and we're in a state of extreme selfishness where the government can be overthrown and people will be just fine with it because they think they're going to be exempt from the bad changes that's going to happen after it gets overthrown.
Correct.
So when they say they don't see it as an insurrection, they were on that side of the battlefield like, get Nancy, get Mike Pence, kill him, put him up in the noose.
Exactly. And maybe it is the translation that's throwing people off. But however, you have to look at the simple thing in which you said was abundant.
No, we're not hold on, before you go forward. We're not getting thrown off. We're just listening to what's coming back at us after we say what we say.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be thrown off by what we're saying.
No. I understand and comprehend perfectly what everyone is saying. But what I am doing is also bringing in another point. Now, it is true. For those who do not know their history, you are failed to repeat it. You are doomed to repeat its failures. That part is very much true. But also, you have to look at moving forward. That's why the rear view mirror is 10 times smaller than your front windshield. Moving forward seems to be the most important aspect. The reason that the insurrection happened is because Black America, or people of color, started to stand up and move forward. And they don't like that. That means that all of their white privileges, or they believe that all their white privileges will soon disappear. And when we recognize that and realize that, one of the things that we do not do is let our foot off of the gas. That's all I've been saying. We've made some...
You're speaking with me and Eric said, but that's beside the point, right? But what I think is important that Will said is that he thinks that you're getting it lost in translation. No, Will. Some people are stuck in a party. They're just stuck in a party. It's so obvious, right? Because no matter what you say to him, no matter how much evidence you give him, right? No matter how much historical context you give him, he will not say anything derogatory about Joe Biden and his administration, right?
That's not true.
Politics, right? He has an excuse for everything, right? It's only been 30 days. Slow down, Black people. You can't get so much so quickly, right? You can't be radical. Everything can't be radicalized, right? But he'll say, it's been going on for 400 years. But slow down, Black people. I don't know how much time people expect for Black people to keep waiting, right? But that's because he's stuck in a politics. He's stuck in a box of, I owe my soul, and I am depending on my wealth and well-being based on a party. I'm not doing that. Right? Eric's obviously not doing that.
Well,
right?
First of all, that part is wrong. My wealth and well-being does not depend solely on a party. But go ahead, move forward.
All right. He just stopped. Right? And this conversation is not going to elevate. We're never going to see any, and we're just going to keep arguing with Vincent, trying to understand what's wrong with Vincent. And that's the same as people go on your thread for Eric and ask these ridiculous questions, right? They stuck in a space, right, that they're willing to sacrifice the people, right? And when I say those people,
That's not true either. I am not. No, the only person that I am willing to sacrifice for the cause is me.
all right, just please sacrifice yourself. Hurry up, get me there. I need you to sacrifice yourself. Throw yourself on the line. Please, let him do something.
Oh, I'm doing it now by talking to you. Because nobody puts my character to death better than you.
Absolutely. Listen, right? I have tried, right? You just said to Eric, or gave me a compliment because I too agree that Donald Trump should go, right? Where because you're stuck in that box, right? So yeah, I do agree, right? And I don't care who comes after him. And I don't care what party they belong to. And I don't care how many black folks they heard out to get there, right? If they ain't doing the good work of moving us forward, they Donald Trump.
Right. So here's the thing. Wait 1 second.
So 100%.
Right. So here's the thing I want people to remember.
I want to also add that there is a season because, as you spoke, the George Floyd bill is on the floor. The John Lewis bill is on the floor. A lot of those good bills that were stuck on Mitch McConnell's desk is now moving forward.
So here's
what I'm saying is that what I'm saying. Okay.
It's like it's a quintessential process, right? So let's go through the process. It's already passed Congress.
Okay, it's already passed. It's already passed Congress.
And now it's in the Senate, right? Bring it to the floor. What is 30, 60, 90, 100 days gonna matter in the space of justice, right? Bring it to the floor.
So here's the question I want to ask, right? So we go back to the debate, the primaries, where you had, whether it was now Vice President Kamala Harris, you had Cory Booker, and you had others refer to Joe Biden as a, as somebody who palled around with segregationists, right? Hinted at him being a racist. And to Jody's point, right? We still have, some of those senators there, right? Cory Booker in particular. Why not push these things, right? He's like the social justice guy, right? Why be okay, and I'm saying that through his silence, right? With these executive orders. Why not pound his fist, right? Because he's the guy who stood up and said, wait a minute, this guy called me a boy. This guy palled around with segregationists. He should be suspect, right? At the very least, suspect. And so why not now have this senator, right, who thought he was competent to be president, pounding the desk saying, why aren't we passing legislation? Why are we satisfied with executive orders? Why the silence?
Again, I think that one person who knows how to move things in the Senate better than any president that we had would be Joseph Biden. And yes, to get things done, you have to work with people you don't like or agree with their ideology. Just like in life, I've got partners that I have to work with even though I can't stand their ideology or beliefs. But that doesn't make any difference in terms of getting what needs to be done accomplished. Now, Cory Booker, in terms of it's quickly how things change during the course of an election, and which is why they call politics a blood sport. Because you're cutting one guy's throat on one and then he's your best friend on the other. And because it's how they get things done. It's how things have been moving. And yes, I'd love to see it done clearly. And I mean, I'm ex-military. I'm a man of war. I used to be a competitive fighter. And, I enjoy the simple fact of being able to look your enemy in the eye and know he's truly my enemy. But in politics, it's just not that simple. And yes, a lot of things are getting an executive order, which they need to be. They need to go through the ratification of Congress and the Senate and become laws.
But wait a minute, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna slow down for a second, because you said things are not that simple, right? When Donald Trump got in office, right, he just said he was going to do some shit.
And he did.
Right, and he did. Wait a minute, wait. And so, wait a minute, let me finish. Let me finish. Because you just said to me.
You cut me right off. You cut me.
No, I was talking. I was talking.
No, I was talking. You cut me right off and said, "Hold on, wait a minute." But go ahead. So he got some stuff done, right?
No, see, that's what I said, not you. So when you finish,
take it from where you left.
No. Please, Vincent. You said that things are not that simple, right? Mm-hmm. Period. Then I said to you, Donald Trump got into office and just got shit done, right? Simple.
Executive orders. No. Executive no. A majority of the stuff that Trump got done was executive order. And when he got in, hold on, let me finish. Please let me finish. When Donald Trump got in office, okay, he also had the House. I'm sorry, he had the Senate. So, and he got things pushed marginally through the House. And they got ratified through the Senate.
Right.
And things got blocked through his Republican Senate. So I'm not good at I'm not good at like playing these different scenarios and using it when you want to, right? So when I say you passed it through the House and he got the Senate, you say, oh, no. It's more than that, right? He's got to strategize, and he's got to come and be friendly with his enemy, and he's got to figure it out because politics is so complicated and complex, right? Complicated and complex. When he swore that he was going to go in there and take care of those Negroes because those Negroes went out and they voted for him. It was simple then, right? This is what makes Joe Biden just ready, just a polished Trump, right? So he ain't just going to say, F you Negroes, turn it back, right? He acts as if he's working on it, and you act as if he needs to do some complicated political thing that we people down at the bottom, we don't quite understand. But when it was Trump, you said, he had the House and he had the Senate. And I'm going to say to you, and Joey got the House and Joey got the Senate, right? But this is the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Donald Trump did a campaign based on racism. And he went into office and he took care of his people. He said, you racist. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. No,
he did.
No. He took care of his wealthy people.
No.
So,
wait a minute. See, wait a minute. Jody, 1 second. A point of clarification. And see, this is, wait a minute. Jody, let me clear this up. And then I'll let you finish. And this is where I, again, challenge you to read the book, the cast. Because he took care, let me finish, right? And this is why I think you're sighing. Because you don't understand how he took care of all of his people. He told white people, even the poorest white people, you ain't never going to be a nigga. You understand what I'm saying to you? You understand what I'm saying to you? Well, so wait a minute. So that is why even the poorest ones went to Washington and said, we're going to scale the walls. We're going to try to find the vice president. We're going to put a bullet in her hole in the speaker's head because he told us that he's going to guarantee that we ain't never going to be niggas. He took care of all of them.
That's true, but that's what we talked about earlier.
No, but when you say that he only took care of the wealthy ones, that is a lie. He took care of all of them. He said to them, by saying to some of them, you ain't never gonna have black people moving in your neighborhoods. You ain't never gonna have none of this stuff going on in your lives. We gonna take care of this for you.
Well, that ain't true because black people did move into the suburbs.
No, I'm telling you what he said.
This is why I said he didn't. He only took care of the rich ones. He did the tax break for the wealthy. He made sure that his stimulus package took care of the wealthy. He made sure that and in terms of what he did for the poor people or the poor white people, he exploited them just as much as he did the poor.
But he told them they never go. But you know what? They didn't care about the exploitation. But Vincent, but you missed the point. Vincent, but you continue, and I think you missed the point on purpose.
He deferred the tax.
But I think you missed the
all those poor white
Vincent.
people thought they had more money in their pockets.
Vincent.
And they filed their tax and ended up paying.
Vincent, but I think you missed the point on purpose, right? At the end of the day, you missed the point on purpose. At the end of the day, what holds the caste system together, what holds the upper caste people together is they will all fight to ensure that they will never be a part of the bottom caste. That is it. That is it. And so when you say, when that guy comes in as a nationalist and says, like Jody said, I'm going to take care of y'all. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure that the world sees you and that America sees you, right? Great again, right? That blacks are here and whites are here. Make sure of that. I'm going to make sure of that. And he did that to the best of his ability. And what Jody is saying to you is this. When this other guy comes riding in to the White House on the backs of black people, and then has to say to us, right? And see, and this is where I point back to Clyburn. When Clyburn said, he don't owe me nothing. Translation, he don't owe y'all nothing. That empowered him to say, I ain't got to do nothing. And so now, when he operates in moderation, from your view, that should be sufficient for us. And I think what Jody is saying is...
Hold on, Eric. If the point that he says, or the point that he was basically got a pass by Clyburn, then why did he put into motion the restitution? Why did he put into motion bringing the vaccine to the black neighborhoods and community centers? Why did he put in motion the increase in minimum wage? If he had nothing that he owed black people, then why would he put those things into motion for black people?
Okay, Eric, so, right? I'm going to keep up on this too, right? Here we go. Every time you give him a space, right, he switched the argument, right? The argument, I'm going to keep taking him back to his arguments. I'm going to keep making him eat it, right? The argument this time was that Trump didn't do nothing for his people, right?
No, I said Trump didn't do nothing for poor. Trump did nothing for poor white people.
I'm before that. That was your rhetoric, right? I'm talking about what you said, but Trump could do it because Trump had the House and the Senate. Now he's back to telling us about that damn 45 things that he signed, right? But at the end of the day, let's go back there, right? So Trump had the House, and he had the Senate, and he passed his stuff, right? And everything he did, every time he did something against black people, which in large part was what he did, right? That was them saying to the poorest white person in this country, you still right. I got your back, right? So tell me why. Now Joey has the House and the Senate. Why he ain't doing what Trump do? Is he not as loyal to his followers as Trump was then? Because Trump is loyal.
Okay.
Well, tell me why Joey ain't that loyal to me.
Okay.
Why Joey, instead of signing the 45 pieces of
Executive orders?
no symbolism. Tell me, instead of signing the symbolism, why didn't he just put a legislation on there? They got once they got Atlanta, right? That made us super duper powerful. All black people. Remember, they said on the 21st, black people was going to get superpowers. That was on the internet. My daughter said to me one morning, "Well, mommy, what's your superpower going to be?" It made me so angry. I put her on suspension for social media for a week because they had given us superpowers on the freaking internet, right? So tell me why after Atlanta, historical, right? We got the first black, another fish fry minister in the Senate. Someone ain't put no bills on the floor like Trump did. According to your argument.
Thank you for asking that question. The simple fact of this, he said, and keeping with his promise, he said he was going to work on uniting the Senate and following the actual common bill, in which he did try. Now that he tried and it's over, he said, okay, I tried to play nice, now the gloves are off. But keep in mind, in him doing that, because he has the House and he has the Senate, it does not reach a unanimous vote. It therefore goes back for reconciliations, which means that certain things are going to be, which means that certain things are, please let me finish, but because I did let you,
go ahead, Vincent.
which means that when it goes back for reconciliation, again, can you please show just an ounce of restraint and self-control?
Okay, good.
Which means that the bill goes back and it gets negotiated, which means that sometimes when that happens, it loses its teeth.
Okay. You know what? You don't have to teach me because I know all of that, right? But at the end of your statement...
Then why would you ask that question if you knew it?
Sick, Master. You should say that. You should say, and Master, we's are sick. And Master, we's are slow.
Again, Jody, please stop saying what I should say. That's not what I should say. What I should say is what comes out of my mouth. I am nobody's puppet, and you do not have strings on me. So please give me that level of respect.
So my point was that that's what you are saying. We's a sick master. We's a hurt master. We's a slow master.
Well,
but Vincent, if you ask her to give you courtesy, Vincent,
to make sure that my linguistic skills was beyond saying master.
But Vincent, if
Vincent, when I sing spirituals in church,
Vincent, if you're going to lecture somebody on showing restraint, right, and not interrupting, then it's only good to do the same, right? You literally just sat and lectured her on showing restraint and not interrupting, and then you just did that.
Oh, my bad.
No, but you can't just say it's my bad. Like, come on, Vincent.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I just did. Okay, so go ahead. Please, insult me some more. I mean, I'm a big boy. I can take it.
Well, I don't know that it's about, like, I don't know, maybe it's insulting. I just think that it's a conversation.
It is insulting when you suggest that I cow down to people. It is very insulting when you say that I've reduced myself back to a man of no intelligence who just basically follows whatever Massa says. It is insulting when you sit up here and use those slave references when you're talking to me. Yes, I am insulted by it.
It's true, though.
It's not true.
It's true.
It's only true in your mind.
I'm sure there's some others listening that understand.
See, it's always a sign of a person who loses an argument, who wants to inject other people in to support their failed thesis.
Are you looking in the mirror?
Unfortunately, not. No. But you know what? The one thing that I make sure that when I look in the mirror, I like what I see.
So, last thing, we have 15 minutes.
Quick injection.
Yep.
The Republicans have now gotten into threats. So not only are they censuring the Republicans who voted against Trump, they're also threatening the Democrats, including Kamala Harris, where Mitch McConnell said that the next midterm, when the Republicans take back the Senate, you're going to be impeached.
Right. So, but again, like when I hear that, like I said to people about what was going on over the weekend past, why are we surprised? This is white folks stuff, right? They gonna argue. That's what they're doing. And we're watching this big train wreck. It's kind of like the house Negro, the field Negro, and the garden Negro. They listening to master and the wife arguing in the big house, right? And they all focused on that argument in the big house, right? The only thing that we know through history is if master come out and he's more ornery than he was when he went in the house, we gonna catch hell, right? That's what we know. So I'm looking going, yeah, for them, right? They are trying to reset this thing to make sure that the social hierarchy is what's the word I'm looking for? Unambiguous. That is unambiguous. That is crystal clear. Just in case some of you Negroes got uppity to believe that you had a black president, so that meant you was something. See, this is why we did this thing over here. And now you all think you something because you got a person who looks like you who's vice president, right? And y'all think y'all did this, and so y'all think because you went and voted and took these seats, y'all think that y'all did something. No. See, we're going to reset the room and we're going to show you. That's what's happening right now. But we're focused on some other stuff instead of focusing on a thing that they're looking to shore up, right? That infrastructure. They're shoring up that infrastructure right now. And we're focused on putting some spackle on some walls in the room. I'm saying we need to be focused on this infrastructure. And just like they're trying to shore it up, we need to be blowing it up.
That's right.
But we're not.
We need to keep our foot on the gas.
Yeah, but we got to have a car and drive. And we don't.
I think cars and drive. I think it's moving forward. I think that one thing that Trump has done, or 45 has done, was galvanize the groups in which have been very beneficial. I think that on a national, the Black Lives Matter movement has become a strong political force in terms of people working to get the numbers out and to do the groundwork for the campaigns. I think that it has reactivated.
Right, but Vincent, I'm not disputing. Listen, but you're missing.
Instead of complacent.
Right, but Vincent, you're missing what I'm. So I'm not even disputing that. I'm not disputing that the numbers are what the numbers are, right? But we've had these conversations, and I like to keep them in context. Until we're seizing, and we're not right now, right? We may have some political seats, but we've not seized any power.
Let's get the numbers.
Okay, so
the whole thing.
So Mark Cuban came out. Was it last week where he said that he was not going to have his Mavericks play the national anthem, right? Because the rule of the NBA was that if the national anthem was played, then the teams had to stand. So Mark said, well, there's no rule that says the national anthem needs to be played. So if I eliminate, so I get to the root, right? The root is the national anthem. So I don't play that, which means if de facto the team doesn't have to stand. And then the league said, we're going to make a new rule. Right? Got to play the national anthem. And the Washington Post just put an article out saying that, Mark Cuban is right. Right? We shouldn't be playing that.
Right.
Just one more thing. One more thing, right, that supports this whole narrative, right, that supports the corporation of white supremacy.
You know what I call that, what Mark Cuban is doing?
What?
Moving the needle. We can't. We sit up there and we look at the basics of this actual song and what it truly means. We also look at the part that actually had we not had at that time 9 black senators, that it would have been passed in its full version instead of them omitting the actual version of it. We look at that stain that's set in American history, and we look at getting rid of it, or let's restore America to a better soul.
Oh gosh! Hello, caller, go! Go, caller!
Hey,
go!
I don't know how much I'm delayed, but I thought this shit was gonna say Mark Cuban was being radical.
Well, he is.
But you always, your language, and I'm gonna go back to the translation. Your language is one of an oppressive nature. When you use the word radical, you're using it in the context of something bad.
Yes.
And earlier in the day, I maybe I misconstrued what you said.
And then I didn't mean to give you the impression that I'm considering radical to be bad. What I'm saying is that there's a time to be radical, and then there's a time to be moderate. Not every time do we have to
who determines when that time is?
I believe it would be the person who is initiating the action.
Oh. Okay.
Because let's look at it. Let's look at it, Mark. When someone is calling you racial explicits, there is a time to be moderate or a time to be radical. The determination of that right timing would depend on you.
But you also said that I can't remember what the topic of the conversation was. That Biden was putting the vaccines in the black community. Why? Why did you say that?
Well, because it points to him specifically addressing black people.
Okay, so let me respond to that. It's not that. It's putting the vaccine in my community is the sole reason he's doing that, because the business model, the way that the money is slowly coming out now, it can't continue that way. And from a business standpoint, we need everybody to back out in these streets spending their disposable cash, and a lot of us only have disposable incomes. And that's the sole reason.
Hey, Mike.
Biden can't.
Mike, can I interrupt 1 second?
No,
so wait. No. You will be able to address it in a second. I just want to say this: if we always look through the eyes of truth, right, in terms of why we are here, which is to be the commodity to their wealth and to their power. Right? Then you say, well, what Mike says makes sense. Right? Because if we are the commodity to their wealth and to their power, and we get sick and we die off, there's a problem. Go ahead, Vincent.
How they going to get us to vote in 2 years, right?
Go ahead, Vincent.
Okay, now there may be a level of truth in what you said, and I'm not disagreeing with that. And Eric is true as well. But there is some other truths that could be a reason for that decision. The simple fact that blacks are disproportionately dying of the disease, and the simple fact that putting them in white hands means the distribution goes to majority white people, in which blacks will not get on the list or find themselves way at the bottom of the list in terms of getting the vaccine. The other aspect is this. We have a group called Black Doctors for COVID in Philadelphia, which have been supplying, and we've been donating, in the beginning of it, masks, gloves, PPEs, spending all of our resources in making that happen so that they could do testing. And then because of the white administration, once Biden had passed, once Biden's bill is passed and everybody's counting on that money that goes into the urban areas, the doctors who have been doing the work in the areas lost the contract to a group of people who are crony to the politicians who don't even have a doctor on their staff. So no, we need that ability of looking at strangers into our community and getting the right people in our community to do the work.
Eric, you need some sound effects. Eric, you need some sound effects. You need when Vincent start waxing eloquently, you need to start playing those violins.
So listen, look, a little levity. Since I'm off tomorrow, right? A little levity.
Based off of what Vincent says, right? We're giving Biden political clout for doing what he's supposed to do, right? That would be like, a father saying, I feed my children.
No, I got a better one for you. A guy told me, he used to see me with my kids all the time. He said, Mike, you always babysit. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about babysit? These are my kids. They're supposed to be with me.
Yeah.
So Jody's absolutely right. You give a Biden credit for doing what he's supposed to do.
Let me interject this. We had 4 years of a president who did very little of what he was supposed to do.
Oh my God!
Right.
Yeah, those are false comparisons.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you guys,
I get mad when I say this, but see, when he say that, that's what I want to hear him say, and that's what we doing that, right? Okay, but
There we go. Jody wants me. Jody, I'll tell you what. If you write me a script, I'll work on it so that I may be able to palette a few words that you want me to say.
I just feel like by now it should just come naturally to you. But here's the thing, right? When you're talking about that all Mike asked you was like, what is he doing? You said something about the vaccinations, and your go-to was like, he did that for black people. We should give him some kudos. I doing what he was supposed to do. Not trying to make sure that the insurrectionists can't, call up the walls and he could pass the John Lewis bill and solidify that we had that right to vote and it is ours, and that they can't do anything legislatively, right? That matters to me, laws and policies, right? Yeah. Not that we do that, right? But that he sent some vaccines to the black folk, they kill it.
So, I guess the question to ask is this. Is the bar high enough for Joe Biden?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because, there's just based off of what Vince is saying, any crumbs he throw off at the table, half of crumbs he throw off the table to the black community, then he should be, he should be held up on a pedestal. But Biden, again, Vince said it earlier, Biden is not a moderate. Biden is blue dog. He's right of moderate. Obama was moderate. Biden is right. He's over there with the Republicans on majority of their views and ideologies. Yeah. The reason he picked Obama picked him because he was right. And he had to get those views, those votes from the right. So no. And he came in on Obama's coattails. If he would have ran the last time, he would have came in on Obama's coattails.
Well, the most effective, and I agree, the most effective part that Joe Biden had in working with Obama was Joe Biden was Obama's whip. He could go on both sides and get them to come.
Admit it. He's right of Obama. Obama was a moderate.
Okay. I see some merit in that. And I understand that, which is what I just actually said. Okay.
So when he's talking about going back to Eric's point, restoring the soul of America, what does he really mean? You gotta think about. I'm gonna give you something to think about later on. If he's right of Obama, and Obama was a moderate, and he's over there with the Republican majority of the time, What does he really mean about restoring?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to text some people and find out what is his exact interpretation. Because in fact, I'm even going to search it on his website too, and then I'll be able to.
Yeah, we want to know.
So I can let you into his mindset rather than.
I want to be. I want to be clear on those things, right? So
what you said. So you gave your interpretation of Soul of America earlier. I completely understand where you at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that. So for me.
So restoring the soul of America, and the big thing that I did like in that what's his name clip that Eric played was that he did make a very interesting point: Trump versus Hillary. Make America great again. America's already great again. And no, I didn't agree to either of those discussions of greatness, but. Looking at restoring the soul of America goes more, to me, it goes more deeper and more spiritual, because we've been dealing with a basically moralist, soulless group of people in office, which we need to get out.
So I got a question for you. Quickly. When are there evil spirits and things of that nature?
We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness and principalities in high places.
All right.
All right. So listen, guys. I'm off tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow.
Come on, man. Don't do that. That ain't right.
Yeah, I'm off.
That ain't right at all. Come on, you ain't come on, man. That ain't right.
Listen.
I wouldn't call you no name.
Listen.
Get off the phone, man.
All right.
You insulted me enough.
Thanks for calling, Mike. Be safe out there on the road. We're supposed to get a lot of snow.
I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, we got snow coming tomorrow. Be safe out there on the road, Mike. Just a little bit of observation before we go. It's 12:02, and I posted when we got the big snow that people should be able to put cones and maybe even household furniture out to hold their spot after they dug it out. And I still hold to that. But when like a week has gone by, you don't get to claim that spot anymore. And so now, people who have claimed their spot from the first snow, it's going to snow tomorrow. And so they just held on to the spot. So I'm leaning more toward, Diane now and saying, you know what, y'all got to give it up because you were trifling and yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like y'all, you just abused it. I mean, it's crazy. I'm driving this morning, Jody, and people literally have stuff like the snow. It's raining now, right now, and people still have cones out in front of their. So I'm saying enough. Nope, you don't get it anymore. Done. Call the police. Have them come and move the stuff. Ticket the people for putting the stuff in the thing. Finished. I'm no longer on your side with that. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I think we did accomplish some stuff, but I want you guys to think about this. Is Joe Biden's bar high enough? One, again, what are we fighting for? What are we fighting against? Right? Those two things. Let's try to, right? Let's spend some time thinking about that. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. Jody, stay safe. Love you, darling.
Love you as well. Bye-bye.
Mr. Squire, enjoy your day. Thank you so much, sir. And like you always say, if it's God's will, we'll be back on air with these guys talking about all of these difficult things. And I'm going to be finished the book. And maybe, unless somebody has another one, White Fragility. Oh, my gosh. Is a book that I'm going to recommend as the next book to read as part of our book club series.